Time now for Voices of the Future, the show that amplifies the perspectives of the next generation of Republican leaders, young professionals, students, and policymakers who champion the values of limited government, free enterprise, and individual liberty. From grassroots activism to tech-driven policy debates, this program is your front row seat to the ideas shaping a freer, stronger America. Now, your host for Voices of the Future, Ardis Jackson.
Hello, everyone. This is me, Ardis. I'm want to do a more somber show today. Welcome to Voices of the Future. Again, I'm your host, Ardis Jackson. Today, I kind of wanted to do a special podcast to honor the memory of Charlie Kirk. I'm sure everyone has heard of the news that's been going around and how this brave young man lost his life doing something that he truly believed in. I've been hearing all kinds of and watching all kinds of videos of testimonies of people talking about, how he's touched their lives, and it's been very personally difficult for me, and I just wanted to share a little bit of my perspective. I've never met Charlie Kirk in person or anything like that, but that was something I was ironically wanting to work towards. I wanted to kind of see if I can have our show work with his show in some kind of way, and even somehow interact with him, because what he has done and what he started, it's something that is very near and dear to me as well. And I think that his death has caused a reflection for America as a whole. A lot of people from different perspectives, no matter what they believe in, they all have a view of him or an opinion of him. I think that his death has put a spotlight on Turning Point USA even more. And I think he's invigorated a lot of young people, especially those who were carrying the torch for the conservative movement. Not only that, but his faith in Christ was something that I think was a strength that is going to impact a lot more people than maybe even his messages alone has done. And so I just wanted to have a somber show today, just talking about his accomplishments and who he was to me, and a little brief about his life. Charlie Kirk was more than just a activist. Charlie Kirk was a father. He was a believer in Jesus. He was a builder of movements. His voice echoed across campuses, airwaves, and hearts, challenging and provoking and inspiring. Charlie Kirk was a huge advocate for the First Amendment, which is something that is very near and dear to me as well. Without a First Amendment, the right to express yourself and your ideals, and to have that exchange of ideals, we don't have a country anymore. And that was something that our founding fathers fought very valiantly for. And they knew all too well under the, imperial rule of Britain that they were just subjects and they didn't have those rights. And they knew that that was very vital to have a functioning democratic republic. And so Charlie Kirk was a modern champion for the First Amendment, and his, openness to debate people who did not always agree with him, many who did not agree with him, is something that we haven't seen very much of in modern times. And I think that was something that hopefully his movement will continue stronger, and there'll be a lot more other people who will want to push the First Amendment and have those conversations. I would say that we should try to have those conversations more. And what I would like to build upon is having those conversations, but having those conversations with compassion and love behind it as well, having more of a human component to it. And I just hope that we do not allow his loss, his life being lost, to jeopardize the movement he started. And I think there's a lot of young people like myself who feel invigorated by his life and his example, and will definitely continue that. Just a few things about Charlie. He was born in Arlington Heights, Illinois. Charlie's journey began with a bold decision to leave college and dedicate himself to activism, something that he spoke a lot about in his conversations with college age students. And at 18, he co-founded Turning Point USA in 2012, a nonprofit aimed at promoting freedom, free markets, and limited government. What started as a grassroots effort grew into a national force with over 2,000 chapters across schools and colleges. Charlie was led by conviction, and his life was also filled with controversial moments. Charlie was never one to shy away from controversy. He stood firm in his beliefs, whether defending religious liberty, opposing abortion, or opposing and challenging the mainstream narrative. His critics called him divisive. Obviously, I think they only called him that because his opinions were different than theirs, but nonetheless, they called him divisive. His supporters called him courageous. I think anyone who's willing to just go straight into the lion's den, if you will, of college campuses where a lot of this leftist ideology has been just rampant. I would say that's probably the cradle of the leftist ideology has been college campuses. And for him to just go straight into it was something that was very courageous, and not too many people, even Republicans, have been willing to do, to go straight into it, straight into the lion's den. And I believe his faith in Christ was a big driving force for that. He believed in truth, even when it was unpopular. And that's something I very respected about him. I admired a lot about him. Even when he was mocked, he believed in America, even when it was fractured, and we can see now how fractured our country really is, where we got people on the left reacting one way, people on the right reacting one way. I will say that his life is doing a good job of putting a spotlight on these conversations, and in particular, political violence. And so, if anything, we can make better decisions when it comes to security and things like that. But nonetheless, he was very courageous in being willing to debate people face to face, people who don't agree with him. Behind the microphone and headlines, Charlie was a man deeply rooted in faith. Charlie's marriage to Erica Kirk was a testament to intentional love and shared purpose. Together, they built a life of centered on prayer, conviction, and Erica now has to carry this torch of conviction and carry the mission that began, with Charlie, and now has been put upon her shoulders to bear. I would say that Charlie's legacy, the Charlie Kirk Show, reached #1 on Apple following his death. Just shows you that his life and his message did have a pretty profound impact on the country and even the world, actually. His book surged to the bestseller list. Turning Point USA has received now over 37,000 new chapter requests in the days after his assassination, which I think is just remarkable. I think he I don't know if he could envision something like that even when he was alive. He was very, uh, you know, in love with Turning Point USA and was very committed to the mission. I don't know if he would have known that 37,000 requests would have been, on the rise, requesting his organization to be part of their college campuses and different schools. And we're all thankful for his contributions, and we all want to make sure that his legacy and what he built and the movement that he started does not go by the wayside. His death was tragic, but his influence is enduring. And that's what we're going to all take from this. And for those who are saddened by his passing, let us come together and find hope and inspiration in being able to move past this with a newfound conviction, a conviction that will continue what he started, and that we won't back down from the left. We won't back down from the threats that took his life, and even the threats that threaten those like him now. We won't back down from it because Jesus would have wanted us to do the same. And just like Charlie was willing to lay his life down for his faith and for his message, we all must be willing to lay our lives down and even our comfort down, even when it's uncomfortable, to make sure that America is charted on a good path, a path that our founding fathers would be proud of, a path that our children and our grandchildren will be part of. And in light of that, there has been a number of tributes and honors. Senator Shane Jett of Oklahoma has proposed legislation to declare October 14th as Charlie Kirk Free Speech Day. To emphasize memorial plazas in his honor, President Trump announced that Charlie will receive the Presidential Medal of Freedom. These tributes reflect not just a political alignment, but recognition of a man who shaped the national conversation. In closing reflection, I want to say Charlie once said, "Leave a legacy, be courageous." He did both. Today we remember a man who dared to speak, dared to lead, and dared to believe. And may his voice continue to echo not just in politics, but in the hearts of those who seek the truth with boldness and grace. And with that, I just want to say from me personally, as a man of faith myself, as a father of one, with a beautiful wife that I'm very happy to have have by my side. Seeing something like that was, when it happened for me personally, I was at work. I was very shocked at first. I was a little confused. I at first thought there was an assassination attempt on him, meaning that someone tried to bring harm to him, but they wasn't successful. And then as the minutes dragged on and as the videos started coming in, as the news came in, I started realizing that no, there was actually an assassination done to Charlie Kirk. And those few minutes felt like ages. All I could do was sit and wait. With my coworker, we were discussing, what Charlie Kirk meant to us. He's a fellow conservative as well, and even younger than me. And he was talking about how we were both just praying. I unfortunately saw the video, wasn't seeking to see the video, but I did see the video of the attack. And as I told him, a part of me was was doubtful that he was going to survive, but at the same time, a part of me was still hoping and praying, that Charlie would be able to survive this and that the doctors would be able to pull a miracle. Nonetheless, when the news came in that he passed away, I don't know, it felt like, and I'm not exaggerating this, but I would imagine this is what it felt like when people heard Martin Luther King had died. Someone who was so selfless and someone who was willing to put their lives on the line and knew that what they were doing was upsetting a lot of people, and that came with a risk of someone wanting to try to take his life. And so when he passed, it was monumental to me. I saw videos with people saying that they felt like they lost a friend, an actual friend, a personal friend. It was a gut wrenching experience, and I know there's a lot of people all over America and around the world that are feeling that way. But we gotta not give up this fight. And out of anything, my hope is that what happened to him will bring Americans closer together, will unite Americans. I know that there is a mixture of anger right now. There's a lot of people who, feel like there might have to be some retribution for his death. But I know that Charlie, as a Christian, would not want violence to be the thing that happens after his death. That's not what he would want his movement to be remembered for. As a Christian, he would want us to love our enemies. He never once, promoted violence. Even when students were yelling and shouting at him and, showing that they did not like him as a person, he never called people out their names. He never wanted to get physical with people. And so, as this is a reflection point, and we all have to try to make the best of this, turn this into a movement that will make him proud. And so we must unite. We must learn to, understand that Americans, we have this precious right to express ourselves in a nonviolent way. And not only should we allow our difference of opinions to divide us, but we should use those moments to bring compromise and unity together. And so it is my hope that we as a country will not descend into more division and into more violence. We'll honor Charlie by invigorating more young people to be willing to take up the cause. This is our greatest chance we have to reach young people with the conservative movement. For the Republican Party, we all have to take this time to be strategic in how we move forward. And I think Charlie would want it no other way. And I'm humbled and I'm glad that I got to know him through his videos and messages. And I'm honored that he is going to be remembered and his movement is going to continue. So in closing, thank you, Charlie Kirk, for everything you've done we won't forget what you've done. And we love you as a Christian brother. We know we'll see you again in heaven someday. And thank you for everything that you've done. I'm Ardis Jackson from Voices of the Future. And it's been an honor to talk to you guys today. May you guys have a blessed week. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you.
You've been listening to Voices of the Future with Ardis Jackson, a presentation of the Silicon Valley Young Republicans. For comments and suggestions or to get involved, email svyr.gop@gmail.com. That's svyr.gop@gmail.com.